everyone, it's Mary. It's been 4 months since I uploaded a video on this channel, and I was missing you guys, you know, being interactive on the community and also reading and actually uploading videos on YouTube. And I have to be honest, I haven't been reading that much, especially not a lot of fiction books. A lot of non-fiction regarding, of course, education and children and stuff, since for those of you who don't know, I gave birth to a baby at the end of last August, so he's now 7 months and something, and it's been such a wonderful experience, but also very you know, time consuming, and I'm just dedicating all of my time to him. And when I'm not, you know, with him, I'm just constantly trying to research stuff about him, or about, you know, how to raise a human. Of course, no book can really tell you what to do, but you know, I think it helps. So I have been reading a lot of that stuff, which I don't think is that interesting for the purpose of this channel, but still I'm going to mention, of course. And I'm planning to get back to fiction as well, because I really miss reading my fiction books. So I just thought I'd check in to say hi. I have no intention to shut down this channel. I'm still here lurking, and also to wrap up 2018. I think the last wrap up that I uploaded was November, possibly, or even earlier than that, probably September. I don't have a lot of books to talk about since then. I also thought about, you know, starting new and starting fresh and just forget about 2018 and just, you know, get on with the books that I'm reading right now that I read this year. But it didn't feel right. So I also want to mention those books that I read at the end of 2018, and possibly uploaded favorite you know, books of 2018 video as well, even though we're in April now. So I don't know if it makes sense. Let me know if you're interested in something like that. But yeah, without further ado, let's keep this short and sweet. Let's talk about the books that I read from September to December 2018. First, I want to briefly mention 2 books that I DNF'd. So just to, you know, I have my Kindle here. I read The Stolen Bicycle by Ming... Oh God. Yeah, no. I'm going to put, you know, the book here and the author as well. I apologize, I don't remember the name right now. But yeah, it was a weird book to read. I actually asked for this book for review, so I feel bad that I did not finish it. But I wasn't interested. Having a baby taught me, even if it's something that I knew beforehand, that time is precious and I don't have a lot of time to read it. What I read, I really want to enjoy. So this book, not for me. I felt a bit disconnected from it, and I just didn't think it was really working, you know, the switch between kind of real history and the story that was developing. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that because, yeah, I did not finish that. And also, The Lesser Bohemians. I wish I knew that before getting into this book. I had watched some video reviews, but nobody mentioned the fact that this book is written in a very particular style. You know, it's kind of a stream of consciousness style. I'm just going to read you a passage from, you know, one of the pages so that you know what I'm talking about, because I cannot obviously explain myself today. She nods. I do. Any ideas? No. Will I ask my him about it? Your who? You know, scatter us, then down to the toilets for such squeals as required by a love-bit neck. God, he's lovely, in a 3rd year too, so he knows what's what. And he didn't go home until this morning, imagine. I can hardly stand up. Lipstick on the tile and the wall above, and hussy. I know, but oh, I'm in love, and I think he might be the one. Purple bang of left, right in my chest. Good for the gossip, but bad for the friendship. Now weekends, I'll be for giddy up on her bed while well, when you're reading out loud, it actually makes a little bit more sense than when you're reading in your mind, and it's just not my style. I don't get it that much, and it was a bit, you know, stressful to read, and was not really going anywhere, and just, yeah, I wish I knew that it was written in that kind of writing style, because it's just not for me. Well, let's talk first about the non-fiction books that I read, which are 3. So I have firstly to books by an author that I mentioned before. He is a Spanish pediatrician, and I'm in love with him basically because everything he says I completely agree. He has a parenting style, because he's also a parent, that I completely stand, and once I know, where I'm at with parenting and stuff, I know which books to look for. Because when you first get into, those kind of educational and, books about parenting, you have a lot of them and a lot of different, parenting styles and ideas. Sometimes they do agree with each other and sometimes they don't. They're like the opposites. So you're like, should I do that or that? Because both seem reasonable. But actually, once I knew, what kind of parent I wanted to be, then it was easier for me to find books that were actually useful to me. So I love him and I plan to read all of his books. And yeah, I previously read My Child Won't Eat. That was about, weaning and just eating in general. Then I read this one, which I'm just going to hold for a second. This is in the original Spanish, but it's called, and I'm going to put a picture here, Kiss Me, How to Raise Your Children with Love. And I just love everything about this book. It's very honest, very sweet, and I completely agree with everything he says. He stands for, positive parenting, which is something that I also stand for. And the fact that children need contact, and so it's not, bad to just cuddle them and have them in your arms and nurse them to sleep or cradle them to sleep or sleep with them even, which is something that I didn't think I would agree with, before becoming a mother. I was like, I don't think it's safe, or I don't think it's right to let a child sleep with you, or a baby sleep with you. He has to learn to sleep in his cot, and it's not like that. It's way more complex and actually more simpler than it seems. So it's both complex to understand in this kind of society that we built, but it's also very simple because it's actually very natural and just it's your instinct to protect your baby and to actually be with him when he most needs it. So that's basically what he says. And I feel sorry that in our society and in my society, I do have to get back to work when he's too young to be on his own. So I obviously he has to be taken care of. This is him crying, but he's not alone. He's with his father, so don't judge me. But yeah, I feel sorry that in a couple of months I will be back to work, and I won't be with him that much, even though he still needs it. But obviously I cannot do differently because I do have to get back to work. I really, really enjoy this book and I highly recommend it. Oh, baby, what's wrong? What's wrong? You want to say hi to the people? Want to say hi to the people? Yeah. What is it? You want to say hi? Say hi. The next that I read by him is this one, which again I have in the original Spanish version, and it's called Breastfeeding Made Easy, and it's all about breastfeeding. He's a doctor, so he knows what he's talking about. I do know quite a lot on breastfeeding now. I'm very passionate about it. It was something that was very hard for me to begin with, but I am very happy that it was successful. It's still being successful because I'm still breastfeeding. And yeah, I just think it's very informative, especially now that you have so much wrong information about it and everybody wants, I'm sure everybody wants to help you, but they don't provide you with the right information about it. For me, it was very important, and I'm glad that I was able to do that. And if I was able to do that, it's also because of books like this one. So yeah, very informative and just very, very useful. Read it if you're interested. This was the non-fiction part, and to talk about fiction, I read 2 books, and I'm sorry that I cannot probably give you a very detailed review of what I've read because it's been so long. But I read 2 books by Daphne du Maurier. I'm still in the Daphne du Maurier project, in which we read a book a month for, starting from publication order. I am so behind because I read the book for October and November, so I have December, January, February, March, and April to read. Those are a lot of books, but I still want to do that because I love Daphne du Maurier. And if you have followed my channel, you know that the first books that I read were not that great to me, and it was really a letdown because I really like her, and I wanted to get immersed in her books and her stories and her writing style. But actually these last 2 books that I read were awesome, so I'm very happy to be doing this project and very excited to get to the other books that she wrote. So the first one, going into the order in which I read them, is Jamaica Inn, and actually this was such an atmospheric book. This is set on the Cornish moors, and it's very dark. It's very kind of a fairy tale like. It kind of reminded me of the fairy tale of Bluebeard. This book talks about Mary. Yeah? Yes, I do remember. It talks about Mary, and after her mother dies, she's basically all alone, and one of her mother's last wishes was for her to live with her aunt, Patience, that lives in this inn because her husband is actually the owner of the inn, which is called Jamaica Inn. She goes there to live with her aunt, and she actually discovers that there is a lot that she doesn't know about her aunt and her husband and just what they're up to in this kind of place that is avoided by everybody. This one kind of hit home for me, and it was just what I was looking for. And it was a perfect time to be reading this because I read this in October, so it's not really spooky, but it kind of gives you that kind of vibe, that atmosphere that you're really looking for in the cold months. So yeah, I loved it. I do think that it was not perfect, so there are some elements that I did not fully enjoyed, especially the fact that it kind of builds up to a big reveal. So she goes there and she's like, something is off. She realizes that something is off, and that her uncle is actually hiding a secret. So you kind of have this big build-up of what this secret is, and it's not. I mean, this is not a spoiler, of course. It just wasn't that shocking for me as it was, portrayed in the books. So that was a bit of a downer. But other than that, it was very enjoyable. This really gives you a glimpse and a taste of Daphne du Maurier's writing style, which is superb. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. And then we have the masterpiece, and I'm so happy that I enjoy this one so much because it has like so much praise and everybody loves it. And when you approach those big classics, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this that much, and I really 100% did. And it was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier again. I plan to do a review of this at some point because I feel sorry that I did not again write down my thoughts after reading it, that they were very fresh and I had a lot of thoughts basically, but yeah, now they're gone. Anyway, this was just perfect. Everything about it was perfect. The atmosphere, the characterization. The main protagonist of the novel is young woman that goes on this trip as a companion of this elderly woman, and there she meets this man who's a widower, and she actually falls in love in a very, kind of instant love style, falls in love with him, and they get married basically. She cannot believe what happened to her because he's very rich and he owns this very big estate which is called Manderley, and she goes on this trip as a poor young woman and goes back as a rich mistress and that owns a big estate. But she has to face the constant presence of Rebecca, who was the, you know, the previous wife of her new husband. So yeah, I don't want to say anything more than that, but it's just so brilliant, and absence plays a very big part. Starting from the title, you know, Rebecca, she's not there anymore, but she kind of is there anyway. And also the Manderley is a character by itself. The estate is a big character, and the fact that the main protagonist of the novel, she doesn't have a name. It was just so good, and I loved it. And I loved it so much. And hopefully the next, you know, books by Daphne du Maurier are just as good as this one, because this was brilliant. I'm sorry I had to pause the video, because this squidge doesn't really want to. It just wants to stay with me today. It goes like that. But anyway, yeah, that was everything for this video. I am happy to be back. I plan to just film, even, you know, if I'm not feeling, you know, if everything isn't perfect, if I'm not feeling at my best, or he doesn't let me, I don't know, film with him. I will figure out a way, but I'll be on booktube, because I miss you guys and I miss reading, and this video was so long. I'm so sorry. I'll have fun editing, but yeah, so I'll say goodbye for now. And also, I changed the location. As you can see, I'm in my bedroom because I thought it was a bit lighter, and this is Leo. Say hi. Say hi to the camera. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!